Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today, this one's going to be doing a review for the Walking Dead universe, and another video for the Walking Dead leading up to the finale of Dead City. We're going to be going over your guys' comments and questions, and our final Q&A leading up to a Dead City episode. After that, it'll be Season 3 Q&As, and we'll probably start getting into Daryl in Spain, you know what I'm saying? So we'll probably start getting into that stuff once Dead City concludes here in another week or two, because Daryl Dixon's going to be coming up soon as well too, like probably in a couple months here. So, gonna be exciting, man. Walking Dead ending with Dead City this upcoming week, and then we got Daryl Dixon promotion probably quickly after, and then I'm assuming Dead City Season 3 after that, because they're already filming Season 3 of Dead City pretty soon, so we're getting to it rather quickly, and there's a lot of stuff going on, lots of shows coming out, with both of these kind of running very close to each other, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. Walking Dead is, very much going to be active for the rest of the year. So, in terms of this finale here, I am really curious to see how things kind of play out. I'm really curious to see how things kind of go, but I did have a lot of theories and questions from y'all that I wanted to kind of go over, so definitely wanted to get into that. So, starting things off with Norma, who says that, Dan, honestly, I gotta say, I did not enjoy this episode. I have to disagree. Episode 7 was not that great, and a lot of filler and a lot of slow stuff. You know, I will agree that it is a filler well, not filler, but it is a slower episode, but I wouldn't say it's like a bad episode at all. I still enjoyed it. I gave it a 7.5. I thought it was, it was a good, penultimate episode. It did what a penultimate should do, at least, which is set up the story, give you, your context on what's going on, and, build up to the big finale. Now, obviously, as you guys know, I've had plot issues this season with a lot of the direction of the story, so this episode's still kind of a victim of that, even though I did enjoy the narrative of what they were telling. I will admit that, yes, there are problems with the episode. It's not a perfect episode. There are things that I do agree that were kind of off, you know what I'm saying? But it was still good enough for me. I still enjoyed enough of it to say that it was a solid episode, and it was still a good enough penultimate to build us up to what is probably going to be an insane finale, you know what I'm saying? Now, the next one comes from Giuseppe, who says that, honestly, Dan, did Maggie take, like, melatonin or something before, being in this episode? Yeah, seriously, Maggie was, like, passing out, waking up, passing out. Now, admittedly, I actually like that for one simple reason. I like the fact that they showed realism of if someone's out there for such an extensive amount of time and they don't get enough sleep, they will just crash. That will just happen. The Walking Dead doesn't honestly do that enough. I like the realism there. I like the realistic element of it. And I think they honestly did a good job with that. I think that really showed, the realism behind, you wouldn't be able to stay awake after a week of just being awake and doing all this crazy shit and fighting a bear and almost getting hung by Colonel Lucia and, all that crazy ass shit. Like, Maggie's at a point where she's genuinely, like, dead. You know what I'm saying? So I liked it for that element. I think it actually worked. I think it made sense. Where I will admit, though, it was kind of ridiculous is, like, when she's standing over the edge of the building and she's, like, kind of considering jumping off. That part kind of was like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. But the overall storyline of the episode, with Maggie and stuff and Croat, I did enjoy it. I like getting more knowledge on the Croat. I'm kind of wondering now whether or not Croat is concluded or not, you know what I'm saying? Because it feels like Croat may not be involved in this finale. I'm kind of getting that impression. We may just kind of be done with Croat until Season 3, which I'd be okay with because I think they concluded Croat in a good way this season. But again, it's, we'll have to see. Maybe he is involved in the finale. Hell, maybe he comes in the finale and dies, you know what I'm saying? I'm still not ruling that out. I'm more so believing that Croat could survive this season now, though. But again, like, it's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell what they're going to do with him. The next one comes from Gal, who says that, Hershel giving his toe willingly, that was an interesting twist. Also, it's probably going to build up to an insane finale with a lot of big answers and a lot of big stuff going on. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I have to admit, I was kind of shocked about that, too. Apparently, Hershel gave his toe willingly, which, again, is kind of a problem in the writing, I think, this season, is that I don't think they showed us enough of a brainwashing element to the Dama to where I would believe that Hershel would willingly give his toe to her cause. That I don't understand. That part, they need to show that or something, because it feels like I'm missing a piece of, kind of how it all adds up. It feels a little convenient for the plot, so I would appreciate if the writers kind of gave us a little bit of knowledge on that. I don't know if they will, because part of me kind of feels like the Dama's going to die in the finale, but again, which is funny because they just brought her back. But I think they're going to kill Dama off in the finale. we're probably not going to get any more knowledge on what happened with Hershel. I think we're just going to have to figure it out for ourselves, which is kind of your standard Walking Dead, way, if you will, is at least modern Walking Dead. They kind of tell you something happened, and then they expect you to care, and then they also expect you to care when, the character gets killed off, and you're kind of like, well, I don't care, and they're like, oh, well, you should care, and it's like, no, I don't. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of, the point. Like Bruegel's going to probably die in this finale if you didn't see the video I made yesterday, and I'm just kind of sitting there like, okay. Like, I expected this, you know what I mean? It's not like surprising. Like The Walking Dead doesn't really surprise me with stuff like that anymore. The only thing that really did throw me off, I got to admit, is the Dama surviving the fire and being back. That threw me off. Like, I genuinely was like, whoa, like, you know what I'm saying? When she came up behind Maggie and she just like knocked her out, I was like, damn, okay. Like, what the hell, I'm disappointed though in Hershel, man. Hershel's a bitchy little kid, man. I gotta say, like, seriously, you're gonna do that to your own mother? Like, damn, man, honestly. Maggie, honestly, like I said, and I've said this about Maggie before, I love Maggie, but story-wise, I do definitely agree, she did not raise that kid properly, clearly, because, I mean, look at this shit. This kid has gotten easily manipulated to the point where he's willing to screw her over, you know what I'm saying? So, Maggie, you failed somewhere, you know what I mean? I love Maggie, but you failed somewhere, you know what I'm saying? It's just that simple. So, and it's probably because, your rage and your hatred for Negan kind of took over and consumed you, and then Hershel was kind of neglected in that way. Even though I don't find she neglected Hershel, she did a lot of things for Hershel, but kids need a certain amount of affection, you know what I'm saying? That's just kind of the way those little things friggin' work. So, it is what it is, I guess. But I will say, I am shocked that Hershel has gone this far. I really am. I'm really shocked. It's so far to where it's like beyond redemption, but the writers are just going to pull it in and reel it in at the last minute and be like, oh, the Dama messed with my head, but I'm good now, Mom. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what he's going to do. But again, we'll have to see. It's up in the air right now. It genuinely is. It's up in the air. The next one comes from Iron, who says that, honestly, I'm glad they're ditching Eli Journ after next episode. Honestly, really glad they're doing away with this showrunner in general. Honestly, I wouldn't say that specifically, because, I mean, like I said, I've had some episodes this season I don't like, in particular 5 and 6. I'm not really a big fan of those episodes, but at least, here's the thing, though, is Eli Journ is responsible for writing season 1. And he's responsible for writing the first half of the season, which I thought was stellar as hell. And here's the thing. I think Gimple has a reason to do with why this second half of season 2 has been a rocky, kind of path. I think, because I can tell a clear difference in the writing. There was logic in the first season and the first half of season 2. The second half of season 2, while not terrible, I think there's been things that I'm like, what the hell is what? Like, and I think that's because Gimple is trying to quickly end the Barazi storyline and trying to go the unpredictable route. I think Gimple honestly had a big involvement in this, which wouldn't shock me because modern day Gimple writing is not that damn good. I tell you that right now. It is not that good. So, he lost his touch somewhere, honestly. I don't know what happened, because he used to write really good shit. I tell you one thing right now. I do still support Eli Journ. I think he pulled together a really good show. And, again, be careful what y'all wish for, y'all. We could be stuck with something really bad in season 3, and we don't know. Like, we could be stuck with, like, a fear tier writer, you know what I'm saying? You never know what we're going to get in season 3 with Seth Hoffman. So, appreciate what you're getting is all I'm asking, because you never know what you're going to get, you know what I'm saying? And I am kind of nervous because Seth Hoffman wrote a season of television, I won't even say what it was, that I thought was really bad, that I discovered recently, and I was just like, Seth Hoffman wrote that? Fuck. Like, I'm not kidding, y'all. I remember I watched the season, I'm not going to say what it is, but I plan to review it here coming soon, but he wrote a season of television, and I was just like, oh my fuck, he wrote that? Damn it, like, what? Like, so I'm kind of sitting there and I'm like, shit, man, I hope he's improved, you know what I'm saying? So, we'll see what ends up happening, but it is a nerve-wracking thing. The next one comes from Father Daniel, who says, Dan, do you think Dwight could potentially show up with New Babylon in the finale? Because we do know that New Babylon, there's an extra crew of them heading to New York in the finale. Do you think Dwight could be with them? Maybe that's why we haven't shown the New Babylon community, is because Dwight is part of it. I mean, that would be an interesting twist. It would definitely add more substance to New Babylon. It would make me care more about that group. I know that right now. Yeah, like I said, Dwight showing up in the finale, as I've said in countless videos, genuinely is how you just get people hyped as shit for season 3. Like, if that's your cliffhanger, if that's how you end the finale, I would love that shit. I would love that shit. I genuinely am crossing my fingers that there is a way for us to get Dwight on this show. Even if it isn't the finale. Writers, you have to get Dwight on Dead City. That is too good of an opportunity to pass up, I'd say. And genuinely, it would make for a really exciting season. Like, whatever that season is. Like, when he's about to, come up and, be a character, you gotta do it. It would be so damn good. Although, you might want to do it soon, because according to what I heard, Lauren Cohen thinks that 4 seasons might be good enough for Dead City. So, you might want to also pack it in, you know what I'm saying? Because there might only be 2 more seasons after this. So, which I know some people might be happy about. I'm not necessarily happy about it, but I think 4 is enough. You don't want to drag out your show. I think 4 seasons, I agree with Lauren on that. 4 seasons is good enough. Don't do like Daryl Dixon, where they think they can do 8 fucking seasons and pull it out of their asshole. Like, I don't know what the hell they're thinking there, but Daryl Dixon, I love the guy, but what the fuck? What are you doing? I genuinely, I don't know what the hell they're doing with 8 seasons of Daryl. And it's funny? I think AMC would gladly approve them, you know what I'm saying? Because it's their cash cow, you know what I'm saying? Walking Dead's their money maker, you know what I'm saying? So they're gonna do it, but I'm just like, my God, man, like, do we need 8 seasons of fucking Daryl? You know what I'm saying? I don't think we do, Am I gonna watch them? Yes. But it's still, and they know we will. That's why they do it. But, it's like, man, I'd rather see Daryl do other things than travel the world for 10 more years. So, I don't know. It is what it is. But anyway, genuinely though, really hoping that Dwight's in the finale. Really hope that happens. I think that'd be a really great thing, and honestly, I think it would set up for some really interesting stuff. And the last one comes from Dave, who says that, Dan, I don't know if you're planning on doing a Q&A video before the finale. Yes, we are. Absolutely. And he says that, Dan, I gotta say, I'm really worried, and I had this theory for the finale. Do you think that Maggie could potentially kill Negan with Lucille, and Negan could die in the finale? There's been a lot of setup. They've been giving Negan a lot of, hallucinations of old things, a lot of old callbacks. You know what I'm saying? Do you think, especially Jeffrey D. Morgan has been getting a very busy schedule lately. Dan, final kind of question. Do you think that Negan could die? Well, I talked about this in videos before, in the past little while. You know what's funny? I kind of thought Negan would die, potentially in the finale. I don't think it's impossible either, but I just don't see where in this you could kill Negan off and it would make any sense. I think Jeffrey D. Morgan is burnt out on Negan. I think that's why he's been talking about, Negan's end is soon and, stuff like that. I do think JDM is kind of getting ready to say, call it quits, you know what I'm saying? And Lauren Cohen even said, 4 seasons of Dead City is good enough for her. So I think they're reaching their end point. I think they are. But I'll say this. I do believe that Negan will at least make it to season 3. I actually do think now he's good till 3. 3, I'm fucking scared. I can't lie. With Dwight that may be potentially coming in, honestly, I'm fucking scared. But I'll say this, if Negan is killed off, I would much rather it in a, sequel to the original series, like a true sequel, like a show where, Rick and Negan are on screen together before Negan dies, you know what I'm saying? Or Daryl and Negan see each other, or, Dwight and stuff. Like, I want to see Negan interact with the, the majority of the cast real quick before they kill him off. If they just kill him in some offshoot New York show, I'm just going to be like, okay, that kind of sucks, you know what I'm saying? But if they do like a big cast reunion show, which is what I hope they do at one point, and then you kill Negan off, honestly, yeah, go for it. I'm good with that. Like I said, I don't need Negan to survive The Walking Dead. I actually think Negan dying would be a benefit to the show and to the story, for all the haters that he has. But I would say, genuinely, you need to have, some reunions before that. I want to see him interact with Dwight. Rick, like I said, I'd like to see one, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a 50-50 thing. Everybody else I'm good with if he doesn't see again. But Dwight, honestly, yeah, I think you probably should have those characters interact. I think one last interaction would be good, which is what I think they're going to do, which is a W. So, there you go. But anyway, this finale looks crazy, y'all. I'm very excited for it. A few more days, we're going to be discussing it. Let me know what you guys all think, of course. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoy videos like this, be sure to click subscribe. If you don't miss any other videos, make sure to follow me on Dan's Reviews Official on the Scum Guys. And of course, I'll see you guys really soon for more videos very soon. Enjoy the rest of the day, guys, and peace out.
Born in the dark alleys, city of concrete. His reviews blowing up, never taste defeat. Walking Dead dissected every plot twist beat. World gone mad, TV junkies hit a treat. Typing up scripts, marathon through the night. His opinions hit harder than a street fight scene. Every episode, brain sharper than a knife. He's the beacon of critique, shedding TV light.